Hi, it's Jason again. We have kind of a short video today. The video that I've kind of been avoiding since way back in the beginning when I started making the videos for all of you. I wanted to avoid the more traditional method of teaching sign language, which always seems to start with your ABCs. I thought, how boring is that? If I was a parent, I'd want to know more information about what my child is feeling or how to meet their everyday needs. And then I've kind of signed and taught myself into a corner now because I really want to continue working with all of you on the who question. And there's a lot more work that we can do to develop that, and it's really important for your child as they're growing up. It gives you a lot of power to improve your communication with him or her. So, unfortunately, what I figured out when I was working on this video at home over the weekend is that I'm kind of in a place where I need to stop and back up and give you this information and really finish teaching the ABCs. Why? The next lesson we're going to be working on name signs. We're going to be working on family members and who is who, basically. So also, another teacher, a friend and a colleague of mine, advised me that really teaching the ABCs, that happens for a reason. It's really a good way for parents who are learning for the first time to practice all of the different hand shapes. So I've been kind of teaching that as we go along. I'm thinking now that maybe there was some wisdom in the way that the more traditional methods did. So there are many resources on the internet for learning your ABCs, but I'm going to include one video, just this short one today, and we'll practice our spelling, our ABCs. And when we're finished, I'm going to talk just a little bit about some of the reasons that fingerspelling well, clearly, and understanding fingerspelling kind of at you, fingerspell at you, is really important. And some of the ways that it can facilitate communication and help you kind of overcome those barriers that pop up all the time when you don't know the sign. So anyway, we'll suffer through it today, and I'll try to make it as interesting as I can. So we've already finished the signs for A, thumb here, these fingers down like this, and the side looks like that. Not this, but this. A, B, C, and usually turn just a little bit so you can see the shape. C, D, notice this is about at my shoulder height. E, all the books show that those fingers touch, but they can really kind of stretch all the tendons and muscles and everything on the back of your hand, so this is fine. You can do E or E. F, G, that's the one that, let's see if I can show it more clearly. It's almost like we did this for L, and you're going to pinch those fingers together, or almost pinch, so it's like you're threatening to pinch somebody. They're not quite closed all the way. G, you can turn them on their side like this, G, or you can turn them this way, G. You can see that again if you go back and watch one of the older videos again. G, H, I don't know, not as clear as I'd like, but let me show you what my hand looks like. My thumb goes across these two fingers that are down, and these two fingers, my pointy finger and my other middle finger, are up. And then they kind of stick out, not straight at the person, but kind of, for me, it's pointing from my right shoulder to my left a little bit, H. And G, the fingers are pointing the same way. G, H, I, index finger up, thumb across, and I think that's where we stopped. So now we have all the new finger spelling to include and review and practice. And the nice thing is, I'll go kind of slow, but at the same time, you can watch the video again and again and again, or use the half speed. Really watch carefully and make sure that your hands are clear. Shoulder length, I'm not talking about hair. I miss my hair. But really, it's important that your signs not be in crazy places. So don't fingerspell up here, don't stick it way out here, not over here to the side, but just kind of write it even with your shoulder. So we did I. And the next one, you start with the same hand shape, I, and then you draw a J. So when I'm looking at it, the J looks normal. To you, it looks backwards, it looks switched on the video. But for myself, from my eyes, and let me turn around a little bit here, and you can see I'm drawing a J like this. Okay? If I was left-handed, I would draw a J like this. It would go backwards, J. So, because deaf people are awesome, and their brains are really set up for this kind of visual information, they can change it back and forth. They understand the sign very clearly. So don't worry. Just draw a J with your little finger. Decide J this way. It always has to start out and curve in. Don't go the other way if you're left-handed to make a normal J. Okay? J. We practiced for P, the P hand shape for people or person. Remember we said who means person. So P, when you have that tipped up, that's the K. So let's do it. We have these two fingers down. It's kind of hard, even for me, my hands are really broken in. Two fingers down, these three fingers here. Thumb goes in between the two fingers there. And the middle finger, may start like this and then dips down. So K, K, K. This one always makes my hands feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's just kind of normal. It's K, 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 K. And over time you kind of learn how you can use this part of your thumb to kind of hold those other fingers in place. Okay. L. Notice my L. I have these three fingers. The index finger is pointing up, and this doesn't go straight out like that. Okay, it doesn't look perfect. That's too much. You can hurt yourself if you do that. We should be safe signers. So just kind of relax. It can come up a little bit, so it's more like that's fine. L. M. The way you do this is you have these three fingers right here. They drop over your thumb. Okay. The pinky is just kind of in the way. It just kind of hides under there. You can see from, get a little closer so you can see M. Okay, go over. You can see my thumb sticking out there on the side. M and N. This is two fingers over, and M is three fingers over. M, N. When you start fingerspelling a lot of words and you start fingerspelling more quickly, what you'll notice all around with deaf people and hearing people who sign every day is we tend to use a different sign, a little bit different for M, with our fingers out, like this, M. It's kind of faster when you're spelling and you have to change back and forth between two. M, N. So both of those, the fingers are kind of sticking out. They don't wrap all the way over. M, same, flat. They don't wrap all the way over. So you can pick. I think that you'll find as you begin fingerspelling more that M and N, it's clear enough for your kid to understand. At the same time, it's fast and comfortable compared with the other way, which is wrapping them over. But both are fine, and you can decide which one suits your needs better. So we did M, N, O. Pretty easy. All these fingers touch the thumb. And we talked before about the O and then the flat O. It's a different hand shape that you'll use for some signs. O. For P, we have the K hand shape again with the thumb here. We can dip it down to make a P. P. Good. Q. Remember we did the almost pinch hand for G. So it's like this, G. That just tips over straight down like this. From the side it looks like this. That's Q. Q. It doesn't move, it just stays like this. It doesn't pinch. Q. Alright? R is super easy. It's crossing fingers like you're about to break a promise. S is a fist. Instead of A with your thumb here, the thumb goes across. S. just exactly like a fist you would make if you're going to threaten somebody, or you're cheering in solidarity with something. S. T. This is the sign that we practice for bathroom or toilet. So you have these three fingers, 1, 2, 3, pinky, ring, middle finger, and then you have your index finger and the thumb goes in between. T. U is just these two fingers together. Thumb over the other two here. U. V, they just spread apart. U, V, U, V. Add one more finger and you have W. W. Again, pinky finger and thumb are touching each other. W. X. It's just your pointy finger that we use for everything in this this program, whatever you want to call it, this thing that I do. Just bend it. That's all there is to it. X. X. Y. These three fingers are down. Pinky finger is out, thumb is out. Y. And the last one, just exactly like the J, how we just draw it so it looks right to me, because I'm right-handed, it's going to look right to me. Make a Z. Okay? I think for left-handed people you make just a backward Z. 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 It feels weird to me to do a normal Z with my left hand, but I'm not left-handed, so maybe it's comfortable for you. I will clarify that. But anyway, Z for right-handed people, just a normal Z. So on the video, it's going to look reversed to you again, but for me. And then doing it the other way on the left hand should look like a right Z. So I hope that's not confusing, but it's just like writing it, Z. Okay? So that's all the ABCs. Now, what I can tell you of why this is really an important lesson, even though I've been avoiding it or trying to break it into little pieces, the research is really clear how important that fingerspelling is for deaf and hard of hearing kids and for their parents, and especially for their development of reading and writing literacy, because this is sometimes the only way to teach them a word. There are not ASL signs for every word in English. Sometimes the languages are just too different. They're too separate, and there's not a perfect match. And many things in the world have names that we use, we talk, we hear them, we see them in writing, but the only way you can represent them in sign language is by spelling them. So this is really important. Some good ways to practice. There's the simple, obvious things you can do. You can practice your name. You can practice the names of people in your family. It's going to be really important for next week. The next video that we're going to do is really going to depend on that. So practice it. So there are some reasons why the fingerspelling is so important. And one of those reasons is because sometimes that's the only way to represent a word or concept in ASL. Fingerspelling is a very important part of sign language, and it's used sometimes for the whole word. There's not always a short, easy, perfect sign for everything you want. Okay, so fingerspelling is important for that reason. There's some evidence that it supports kids as they're developing their memory, their sequential memory, that they're using letters in order. And this is really important. This is something that our deaf and hard of hearing kids struggle with sometimes. So here's a way that I can give you power to support them more, all right? And also, one little interesting bit of information to share with you, some of the research has shown that deaf children, when they're very small, parents are sometimes kind of like, ooh, he doesn't know his ABCs, why would I spell to him? But because their brains are so powerful and so flexible, these kids will learn the fingerspelled words like a sign. So you might, an example, I heard a deaf parent one time tell me that every time they talked about the refrigerator at home, they would spell it. They never used the sign refrigerator. They spelled it refrigerator. Okay, now I did that pretty fast. For you, it could be slower. That's fine. Refrigerator. Okay, maybe that's a good word you can practice on. But what they learned in the study was that kids, they would see the shapes of the fingerspelled word, and maybe they would not understand or catch all the letters, but they were able to use that generally as a representation for the thing. So the deaf parent who told me refrigerator, that they spelled it every time, refrigerator, their deaf child at like age 2 would start saying, my food is over there, it's in the refrigerator. And they would kind of, they would make up, it's like fake spelling, the way that kids will learn to write is very similar. So I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is don't be afraid, even if your child is very young, very little, age 2, even younger, when they're babies, age 1, or even younger, fingerspell to them. You're exposing them to concepts they're going to need to connect to print later, and it's a really important skill for you to develop. The more you expose them to it, the better they will be, and the better their signing skills will be, and the more developed their brain will be, and it's just positive, 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 positive. Don't be afraid. Start early. Fingerspell a lot. So I think that's it for today. So next week, I think we're going to have 2 episodes, 2 videos. With a little bit of luck, I have invited a special person, actually 2 special people, friends of mine, who are deaf, to come on the video program and share with you some signs for Halloween, because it's almost that time. It's October, what is it today, the 6th. So 31st will be here very soon. So anyway, please watch next week. Hopefully we'll have the video that kind of either finishes or is the second to the last video on who, and helping kids develop that concept in the question. And there should be kind of a special Halloween treat for you too. All right? Take care. Thank you for all of your hard work. You're doing wonderful things for your kids. We'll see you next time. Bye.